Yo, what is up, YouTube? So today I want to talk about the umas you should look forward to pulling for Trackblazer. What umas are coming up that you should consider pulling for, and why, right? So if this is helpful to you, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Use code MAMBO for 10% off your gamer subs. Let's get right into it. These are the umas that we think you should pull for during the Trackblazer scenario that you should, or rather consider saving for, because gonna be honest, like, for this, I don't think any Uma here is really a must pull. They have really good skills, but only for like very, not niche scenarios, but just like scenarios that are not necessarily universal. Let's start off with Ballroom Seiun Sky. So Ballroom Seiun Sky is a frontrunner, and she's kind of like an alternative version of the actual Seiun Sky. I mean, true to where she is positioned design-wise, right? Her unique skill gives her speed and acceleration, much-needed speed and acceleration, when you are on a straight and you're like in the top two. And the acceleration bit comes if the straight is on the back stretch. So it works very similarly to Kita-san Black's victory cheer. And it happens on the late race. If it's on the back stretch, she gets the excel. If it's not on the back stretch, she only gets a target speed boost, which is not very good. Like, it doesn't really make sense that once you enter late race, you're getting a target speed boost. You need acceleration to kind of get there. It's a different skill. It's a skill that works differently than, angling and scheming, and it kind of works where angling and scheming doesn't work, kind of. That being said, the applications for this, typically you're going to see a lot of skills like break it down, this Seiun Sky skill in particular, on long distance tracks, because on long distance tracks, usually the late race is behind the last two corners. And so you're going to see, the backstretch being used as a late race acceleration zone. In that application, I do think Seiun Sky is very good. As a parent, she's very good too. If you're trying to race like a long front runner specifically, you want to be in the top two, then Seiun Sky is like one of the best parents for that situation, if not the best at the moment. Is she a must pull? Again, like, the situation is in the scenario to use her unique skill, it is kind of niche, I would say. It's not as like widely used as something like Taiki Shuttle or Redshift, right, from Maruzensky, I would say. So I don't think she's a must pull. It is only if you are really into front runners and you really want those options. And again, a lot of these umas, like the incentive to pull for them is mostly just so that you could raise your own uma for like parent runs, essentially for your own parents, because that would allow you to have more options when it comes to borrowing a different parent, right? So like, if you're not interested in parent runs to begin with, most of these umas are just not going to be that great, with maybe one or two exceptions, but we'll get into that. Besides Ballroom Seiun Sky, you also have Ballroom Fuji Kiseki. So this banner is actually pretty nice. Most of the other banners do not feature two characters to be looking forward to, but this one does. Fuji Kiseki does have a greatly speed boost for fronts and pace chasers. Fuji Kiseki's unique skill, Ravisan, when passing another racer at the front part of the pack on the final corner or later, perform a dazzling display that greatly increases velocity for a moderate duration. So yeah, final corner or later, usually on the final straight, right? If you're in the top four, so pace chasers, front runners, they love this skill, right? You overtake someone, then you're going to get a greatly speed boost. Now, it should be noted that these conditions are pretty much the exact same as Biwa Hayahida's unique skill, which is okay. As a racer, Fuji Kiseki is a pretty good mile racer, I would say. You have head on, you do have speed star, you have prepared to pass, you have mile corners. So she has everything she wants and needs to kind of succeed, especially head on. So she's a great mile runner, pace chaser. And her unique skill is good, both on her and also to inherit, because it's a greatly skill. And so greatly skills just have a little more value when inheriting. Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to say. Usually, in terms of like as a parent for an umamusume, a lot of the parents that are must pulls are giving some form of acceleration, whereas this one is not. So it's as effective as like Ogre Cap or simply Rudolph when it comes to having like an end game velocity skill. And so because like other umas can kind of fit her purpose in terms of being used as a parent umamusume, I don't really want to say that she's a must pull by any means, especially as for a parent. But for a runner, she's pretty nice, especially for mile racetracks. Moving on, you have Nishino Flower, who's predicted to come out at the 10th of April. And now I have seen a lot of discourse with Nishino Flower. I have seen people say that she's like a must pull for pace chasers. If you're a pace chaser fan, she's a must pull. She's a great parent for pace chasers. And that's true in like certain respects, right? And if I'm wrong, I mean, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. I personally think from looking at her unique skill that the usage of it is a little more niche than what other people would sort of lead you to believe. First of all, you have preconditions. You need to be on a corner and you need to have Uma, like an Uma to your side. Whether it's to your left or right, for more than 2 seconds, they have to be on your side and it has to be in the mid-race when this is occurring. So once this precondition is cleared, then it starts to check this or this. And what this or this means is you have to be 3rd or 4th position, right, for both of them. And if you are on the final corner and it's the later half, so it's very similar to Taiki Shuttle's unique skill and how it got changed. The shooting star for victory, I forget exactly what it's called. But that unique skill, it's basically the same activation condition. Final corner, later half, and in the late race, you get a burst of acceleration, which is amazing, right? On the tracks that it works on, it is amazing. On top of that, like, if you have the final straight and it is the late race, then you're also activating this unique skill if you're in the 3rd or 4th position. So like, what racetracks does this like work on? What I found is that it typically works on racetracks that are shorter and rather or sprint or miles. If you take a look at racetracks like later half acceleration, you'll probably carry over, and this is good. Later half of the final corner, right? Over on, let's say, for a mile, right? Later half of the final corner is, it won't work over here because you're not in the late race. Oh, I think you would over here, right? It's pretty much exactly over here because this does require you to be on the late race, right? Yeah. So it'll have perfect acceleration on this mile track, on that sprint track, right? But when you look at anything past 2,000 meters, it'll still be pretty good, I would say. Yeah, and this one, it's like way too late. 2,000 meters when it starts to get way too late. Hanshin 2,000 meters like Osaka High. If you take a look at Tokyo 2,000 meters, which is the Satsuki show, if I'm not mistaken, I think this one should be good. This is like perfect, right? This is perfect. But once you start getting to like Tokyo 2,400 meter, like Tokyo Yushin, Japanese Derby, it's too late. It's too late. Similar to Shooting Star, it's way too late as well. And so anything for like medium races, like 2,400 meter or long races, like this unique skill isn't that great. It works on sprints, it works on miles, it works on short medium tracks like the 2,000 meter ones, like I mentioned earlier. But other than that, it doesn't seem to apply for the other ones. I will say that like this does cover a lot of the tracks. This does cover a pretty good, healthy portion of it. And so if you are very into pace chasers and you want to have this unique skill and you are parent farming, you remember most of these Umas are must pulls on the basis of like you're doing parent runs, right? Then this unique skill is very good for that. That's Nishino Flower. Long story short is you're a pace chaser fan. You especially want to focus on sprints and miles. It's very good. Otherwise, like on longs or anything over 2,000 meters for mediums, it's just not going to be that great from what I've seen. Now, moving on, we have Cheerleader King Halo. Cheerleader King Halo has a pretty nice unique skill in that it does give a burst of acceleration similar to Nishino Flower, okay? And so you might say like she's great for late surgers and end closers. You have to be, you know, in the bottom 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? I guess bottom 4. For like the majority of the race, you need to have no rush and it has to be halfway through the race. And if these preconditions apply, then on the last straight, you'll get your acceleration boost. But notice how it says last straight. Not a lot of race courses have like a last straight for acceleration zone. Like if you take a look again at the same tracks we were talking about, Hanshin 2,000 meter, Osaka High, like last straight acceleration it's just way too late, right? It's only going to really be very effective on shorter distance tracks. 1,800 meter is going to be too late. 1600 meter for a mile, it should be pretty good, right? Pretty decent, but it's still a little late. For sprints, it does seem pretty nice, right? This is on Hanshin though. Like, we do have other racetracks. Chukyo, I think Chukyo typically has some good sprint races, right? We have Takamatsu no Miyakinen. It's perfect for Takamatsu no Miyakinen. So for shorter distance tracks, I do think the skill is very good. But it, like, for races outside of that, if you are a fan of late surges and end closures and you want the option to have a parent to raise, to pass on that specific unique skill, then Cheerleader King Halo should be a good pull for you. You also get 10 free pulls, okay? Estimated to come out on the 20th of April, so there you go for that. Moving on, you have Camping Taiki Shuttle, and Camping Taiki Shuttle is going to have a unique skill that is different than most other umamusume that we've had. It's actually like just a new part, right? It's a totally new effect that we haven't had yet, I'm pretty sure. And that's increased current speed. Now, increasing current speed doesn't also increase your cap by itself. Like, this is increasing the cap, obviously. But by itself, it doesn't increase the cap. And so what that means is that whatever your target speed is, this current speed is like, it's almost instant acceleration. It gives you this burst of speed, and then you start accelerating to your target speed. If you're already at top speed, then current speed doesn't do anything for you. If you're already at top speed, current speed doesn't do anything for you. That's as far as I am aware. If I am wrong on that, please let me know in the comments. I'll pin it or something. But current speed only increases up to your target speed. And so what is the skill? This skill is a last 200 meter if you're second, third, fourth, and you're within 5 lengths, or is it 5 meters? It's gonna be 5 meters first place position. Then if you're within that, you're gonna get like this huge speed boost. Not only a target speed boost, but a current speed boost to help you get to that target speed. Gonna be very good. If you are not within 5 meters, then you just get a target speed boost, which is totally fine, right? This is a different unique skill, and so like to roll for her as a Musume, she'll be fairly unique compared to everyone else. She has head on, she has mile corners, she has mile maven, patience to corners. She has really good skills for mile runner, for general pace chaser. She's pretty nice. She has also the gold version of head on, and this is wrong. It doesn't activate on the first half. It's still going to be random for a while unless they update the game. But yeah, for a mile distance runner, and just in general for a pace chaser, I think Taiki Shuttle, amazing mile runner, and otherwise is still a very good pace chaser with a nice unique skill. Not necessarily a unique skill that you want to pass down. I don't think so anyway. But as a runner herself, I do think that she has a lot of incentive to pull for if you're interested in winning those type of CMs, those races for miles, okay, specifically. Moving on, we have the Summer Gold Ship. Now, this Uma is kind of crazy and kind of meta defining. Do you need to pull for her? I would say no. You could just always borrow, but her unique skill is something that you typically want to inherit, and the reason why is because it says this: at a random point in the second half of the race, your speed will increase and you will activate 2 of your gold skills at random, ignoring their conditions. So it's really nice that with Gold Ship, okay, you actually do would run Gold Ship herself too. And what happens, or why this skill is good, is because this ignores conditions. It activates 2 of your gold skills at random, ignoring their conditions, which means that, let's say you had a gold debuff called Dominator, which typically only debuffs all the other Uma's current speed on medium distance tracks. But because this skill ignores the conditions, if you teach Dominator to Gold Ship, or if you inherit this skill and you teach it to whoever owns this skill, then you will be able to activate Dominator on tracks that it doesn't apply to. So you can definitely use this Uma as a runner, or as someone who you inherit from, if you're trying to build a debuffer Uma. And in some ways, a lot of people can say that this is very meta defining. I don't necessarily think it's like, it's not a must pull. Like, you don't have to make debuff Umas. I don't think it's gonna be like, if you don't have debuff Umas, you absolutely can't win CMs. But like, if you were interested in having like the strongest option for debuff Umas, this is pretty good. This is very, very, very good. So this unique skill is fairly unique. As far as like how do you activate it, you just need to be basically, it's just going to be random, essentially. It's going to be random point after the second half, within the second half of the race. You get a speed boost, very small. It's not really a big deal. But activating 2 random rare skills, if you only know Dominator is your rare skill, or your gold skills, right? Then there's no room for error. There's no randomness to it. You just activate those 2 skills. So, very good debuffer Uma, right? And definitely something to consider, even if you don't want to run her, you just want to inherit her skill. You can always borrow her, okay? Just to keep in mind. If you only know Dominator while having this unique skill, then it will activate. At a random point in the second half of the race, it will activate. Moving on, we have Summer Mejiro McQueen, who also is in this banner. And she is kind of like Gold Ship, but she's for frontrunners and pace chasers. First of all, very, very cute summer outfit. Very pretty dress, okay? 8814 speed, stamina, wit. She's Mejiro McQueen. Same aptitudes. The unique skill, if you're in front of the second half, if you're in front in the second half of the race, your speed will increase. Bonus duration depending on your remaining stamina. So it's basically like Anchors Away, like Gold Ship's unique skill, but it's going to be essentially for frontrunners and pace chasers, which is pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good skill. You're also going to have it scale, so it's similar to Mejiro Bright and her scaling. So as a runner, I think she is going to be pretty nice and consistent. I wouldn't borrow the skill just because the target speed is not that big of an increase. So if you're interested in running Mejiro McQueen, I feel like this Mejiro McQueen is a lot more usable than any of her previous iterations, sadly, right? You do have Headliner, which is a gold long velocity skill. The unique heal, or the gold heal, let's take a look. And it's a pace chaser, long. If you didn't have a late start to the race, your stamina will recover in the first half of the middle leg. That sounds amazing, you know. We have just a very consistent racer who has like tools to basically sustain long distance or longer medium distance tracks, right? The only problem is that she just doesn't have any built-in acceleration, but that's something you can kind of build. Also, she learns playtimes over from events. So she's a pretty cool Uma. Definitely not a must-pull by any means, but someone to be, you know, keeping on your radar. Mejiro McQueen has a lot of fans. This is a very good, you know, outfit, very good dress, and her unique skill is a lot more usable than her other ones. So she's a front runner. You could be a front runner or a pace chaser. You just have to be top 4 to activate this skill. So very cool. Moving on, we have Kopano Ricky. Okay, we have Kopano Ricky, and this is the Dirt Ace Uma. Okay, she is the Dirt Ace Uma. She is very hard to raise because her unique skill is fairly unique, but also it is pretty hard to do. Okay, in the second half of the middle leg, well, okay, her unique skill will work, but it's hard to min-max. In the second half of the middle leg, your speed and acceleration will increase depending on the amount of green skills you've activated. So your target speed, you first get like 25. You get 25 increased target speed no matter what. But depending on how many green skills you've activated, you get more, right? So if you have 7 green skills you've activated, you could get 0.35 acceleration. Now this is in the second half of the mid race. So on certain tracks, like you might not even get the acceleration, but you do get, well, I'm sorry, you will, because you're increasing your target speed. You're going to get 35 increased target speed plus the 25. So that's just 60. And the acceleration to get there, that's a huge, 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 huge speed boost. She's not very easy to make into a turf Uma because unlike Smart Falcon, she has a F rating in turf, not an E rating. Okay. But her unique skill is monstrous. It is insane. And when inherited, yeah, you don't even get the scaling, right, chat? Looks like you don't even get the increased scaling. So not a good parent, but a very good runner, and not typically going to be easy to allow her to run on the turf. So she is just an ace Uma. She is just simply an ace Uma. Besides her unique skill, you have medium corners, you have victory opportunity, you have outstanding steps, so you have some green skills on her kit to help boost the efficacy of her unique skill. So she's a pretty strong Uma, but also difficult to build because it's very specific to the track and you need a lot of different cards to give the green skills that are needed for these different tracks. But if you could get it to work, Kopano Ricky has a very, very scary, a very monstrous unique skill. That's going to be it for the Umas to look out for. Not a lot of must pulls, okay, but some Umas to kind of keep on your radar. I definitely think support cards are a lot more important, especially if you have like a variety of tastes with regards to which Uma you want to raise and which Uma you want to run on CMs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if I have anything wrong. I'll try and like spotlight or pin the comments just so that we can get the right information out to people. Use code MAMBO for 10% off your gamer subs, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.